All right. Take 2. Here we go. Hello and welcome into the Section 109 podcast. Here from Studio Breezy. I'm here with Sir Mix-a-Lot, the GOAT, Bobble Juan. Toby's under the couch as always. This is Matthew. We are excited to be back to talk about another win, Matthew. We like all the things podcasters like comments, subscribes, all of those things. Especially subscribes. That makes us really happy. This thing's going to be powered by Red Bull, not sponsored by. Matthew, how are the vibes, my friend, coming off of 3 points and a 9-point sweep of Huntsville this season?
Yeah, pretty good. And that's included the time gap in between the game and recording. I went out of town.
You did?
For a little
I did too.
Labor Day weekend, which was real nice. And yeah. Let me tell you something. And I put this on the podcast social last week.
We were also back on our bullshit shit talking each other in the comments from the same account, which was good.
Oh, that was fun. These are the stats from the 3 regular season games versus Huntsville this year. CFC averaged 27% possession. Those games were 20. It was 25%, 27%, and 29%.
Are you saying we trended the right direction?
No, they did not go in that direction or in that order.
Oh,
it was
never mind.
We averaged 27% possession. We had a total of 19 shots. We had a total of 7 shots on target. There were 541 total accurate passes, 35 fouls, 12 shots inside the box. We had 35 touches in the opposition box. Our XG was 1.44 combined. And we scored 4 goals. That's right. 4 goals on 7 shots on target. And an XG of 1.44. Huntsville.
Wait, how many shots on target did you say? 9?
7.
7 shots on target, 4 goals.
Yeah.
Huntsville should be better. Anyway.
Huntsville, 73% average possession across all 3 games.
Wait, let me stop you there. Possession without penetration, Matthew, is?
Masturbation.
Shout out Peter Fuller.
Shots, 70 total shots. There were 20 shots on target.
I forgot it was 70. Also, 20 on target and 70 total is a bad ratio, and they should feel bad. It also, I think, tells a tiny bit, not the whole story, but there's a lot of the story, but tells just a tidbit of you have to be able to generate shots that can be on target. And they obviously hit some off target, like the one off the post or off the bar in this game that was from a good angle. But man, did they hit a lot of shots off target. Thank the good Lord above.
And we'll get to some other interesting portions of that I think tell the story as well. Accurate passes across all 3 games, 1,840.
Is that good?
It's a lot. They fouled 27 times over the course of 3 games.
Don't say it.
Fouling's winning.
Both of those.
48 shots inside the box. Four times CFC. They had 140 touches inside the opposition box.
By the way, that's 16. You said shots in the box?
48 shots inside the box over the course of 3 games.
That's 16 per game.
Yes. Their XG over those 3 games.
I mean, we're not going to beat them for 4 seasons after this, but just for the luck of it.
The XG for those 3 games was 8.01 with 1 goal.
Mm-hmm.
That is an all-time stinker.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the best 3-game samples of...
Sometimes ball goes in, sometimes ball does not go in.
Advanced analytics are really interesting, and they tell a story. But also, sometimes shit is weird. And this is probably the best case study I have ever seen of
you got to watch the game.
Shit get weird sometimes.
And single game sample sizes. All this was 3 in one season. I think the following tweet after that is very interesting.
Yeah, shout out Warren Kohler, who
Shout out Papa Kohler.
who asked, can we see blocks and saves? Thinks that's the secret ingredient. The big blue wall just kept closing the windows.
That is accurate.
Yeah, and
this part is borne out to a certain extent in the stats.
So
because we had 472 blocks.
Yeah, 28 over the course of 3 games, 28 blocks, which those 28 blocks are directly related to shots not becoming shots on target.
Yes.
So like one of the reasons why
so many of their shots are on
70
target,
shots, 20 shots on target, is you got 28 blocks in there.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's fascinating. Also, we don't have this number, but I wonder how many of those were in the box. And I'm guessing most of them, because generally speaking, you're not blocking shots because you're not throwing yourself or whatever outside of the box. That is a shitload of shots. They had 48 in the box. We blocked 28. It's not going to be 100%, right? But let's pretend that it were.
It's a significant chunk.
That would be most of their shots in the box being blocked. That's absolutely massive. How many saves?
CFC had 16 keeper saves, which is like kind of low.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Now granted, some of those saves
were
are
ridiculous, massive saves, yes.
But like the story, and here's another one, 98 clearances over those 3 games.
Now that stat I do not like.
It's a lot.
The block stats I like, the low saves number, although some of them were just ridiculous from Eldon, including we just watched the highlights. Podcast studio got a little upgrade, got a TV.
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah, I got a hand-me-down TV that became part of this office. That's actually used to be my grandma's TV.
Nice. On the Huntsville side, they blocked 7 shots during these 3 games. They had 3 keeper saves over the course of 3 games.
We had 4 goals? Yeah, 4 goals.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 1.
And then 51 clearances.
I think if we compare the games, it's a little bit interesting thinking about them. So that
the 2 games in Chattanooga are incredibly similar. The game in Huntsville, which was the middle game of the set, is very, very different. Which goals change games. So the 2 games in Chattanooga are both 1-0 games. They're both with early-ish goals.
So I want to let's compare
the game in Huntsville has more CFC possession. That's the most CFC possession.
At what?
Granted, it's
29%.
29%. But it had more possession relative for CFC. There were more shots for CFC relative to the other 2 games. There was more.
We were also down. They went up.
Yes, and there was fewer stuff for Huntsville in that game.
Yes,
goals change games. These things kind of happen.
Yes. So I want to talk about the 2 games just a little bit. I think, unlike in some seasons, or in some of in our last MLS Next Pro season, and this hasn't been the case necessarily in every game, but in the 2 Huntsville games, that first game we scored in like the 6th minute or whatever. It's really early.
First game was 2nd minute.
Yeah. Okay. Even more so. And so we are just under it, holding on for our lives. Eldon is absolutely epic performance from him. Like he had several massive saves. I remember.
We're talking about the first game, right?
First game.
I'm gonna scroll back to it.
But what I'll point out from that game is that game we were desperately lucky, and we made the plays, so I'm not talking shit, but we were desperately lucky to come out on top of that game. Whereas this last game against Huntsville, I would argue that we played a better version, and we haven't always played a better version. We haven't been better later on in the season, last season. But in this game, we were better. Were we better than Huntsville? No. Like we just threw a bunch of stats, and we all watched the game. But a bunch of their big chances come right at the end when we have everyone in the box. Not all of their big chances, but a bunch of theirs. I would bet. What was their XG in the final game?
If memory serves, it was 3.03.
I truly believe that 1.5 of those XG are in the last 5 minutes. Where we have basically 2 balls cleared off the line and a massive save in there too, I think.
And you're looking at the other big chunk being Miglietti off the post or off the bar in the first half.
And so the thing that we did differently in this game is we've added 5 new signings. We've added more than that since we played Huntsville, because Huntsville was game 2 of the season. We added like 2 or 3 other players after that. But like we've added 5 signings in the last little while, and I think we did have like some 5 and 10 minute periods there in the second half, and it was maybe just one like 10-minute period. But so before the goal, we were a different team compared to the first time we played Huntsville before the goal when we score. Now, we don't generate a ton, but like we're just decent and better. Play them a lot closer to even. Then we score, then we drop back, then we're kind of under it. And then in the second half, the first like 10 or 15 minutes of the second half, we come out, maybe it's a little bit later in the second half, but either way, because I'm not rewatching the whole game. But I remember watching it and being like, okay, we've come back out. We've released some pressure. We've gotten out. We've got some possession in their half. We've generated a corner. You know, it wasn't the same onslaught. Now their big onslaught does come at the end. We're lucky and make great blocks, and that Stevie clearance off the line is exceptional. The Eldon save at the end on our boy Maximus Eck is phenomenal. Shout out!
Welcome back to the team.
Welcome back, yeah.
ACL recovery.
We met him at the very first MLS Next Pro game. We met his parents and him at the game, and they were super cool. He also, like, quote from Eldon, read him like a book. It is beautiful if you watch it. Like, Eldon knows exactly where he's going before that kid knows where he's going, which is just the veteran presence and beautiful. But I want to point out that, like, yes, those two games were like games that Huntsville should have won, but we accomplished it differently in that second game where we bent, but we didn't look like we were going to break. And if the ball goes in, the ball goes in. But like we continued to just block a shitload of shots, make plays, and then like obviously force them to miss in a way where the first game to me, vibes wise, felt like we just got lucky. Like we got it done. But like I remember talking to Jesus, now Carolina Coors, Jesus, RIP, after the game, and he was like, you know, that, and I'm just like paraphrasing, like his vibes were like that sucked. Like we didn't have, like we played bad, we didn't have the ball, we were lucky. Like we got to be better than that, basically. In the second game of the season, that's the way you should hope that they feel. But after this game, when it's all that counts is the points, right? Who cares how we play? Let's just get points. It really felt to me like we had a plan. Like we got the goal on a set piece. We bunkered in, we played smart, we continued to just block chances and not give up big ones till right at the end. And the big ones, like the ball went our way. So I was really happy. And that second game down there, I agree with you. We imposed our will for like 15 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes, and went and got those 2 goals and like just shell shocked them. And while they had a lot more of the ball down there, like they did not have near the kind of dominance in the game down there, from my perspective, that they had in the 2 games. At our place.
The one
in part because they score early, they keep the ball a lot, but they don't do as much with it.
I think they scored early in the second half.
Was it in the second half?
Yeah, because we were pretty happy to be, because Carlton scores on the end, where Eldon makes the PK save at the end of the game.
I forgot about the PK save. That was awesome. Yeah.
Is that 2 years in a row where we save a PK late against Huntsville? Or am I misremembering a big save, just a big save late? I don't remember. Maybe I am.
I think it's just a big save, but
it's one. So like one commonality across all 3 games, and this, I think this speaks to the quality that Huntsville has, and you and I both think they're legitimately like the best team in the league.
They are the best team
at
in the
least
league.
when they want to be.
I also, so if you did not go to the Ultra Club after the game, like make your way there. Ultra Club After Dark, quote unquote, is what they're calling it. It is awesome. It's my first time. I missed the first one or the first 2. It was really, really cool. The vibes were immaculate. Also, we won, so that was great. Yeah. But I quizzed players and coaches. I didn't get everybody, but I asked probably 5 or 6 different guys. And the consensus pick, it's not the only pick, but the consensus pick is that, and I agree with this, you and I both agree with this, Huntsville's the best team in the league. And it's really cool to have taken 9 points off of them. Continue.
The difference between a team like Huntsville, who's really, really, really good, and a team like, honestly, like us and like a lot of other teams in this league who can be pretty good, and also can be a little mediocre at times. Like the real difference is that when Huntsville wants to, they've built their team, they have the players, they have the quality, whatever. They have the ability to just turn the game and say, this game is going to occur entirely in the final third.
Yes.
Our final third.
That's a thing.
We're just going to play here. You might be able to break and counter on us once. And I'll tell you something.
We did break and counter, and we almost scored. It's not in the highlights, but if you remember, like we did break and counter, right, and we did almost score, and that's what.
And that chance right there does not result in a shot. We got one shot in the first game of the season, way back in March, where we actually generated that big chance and it was a shot and we did not convert it. But like, that's how good they are. We're talking about 2 games that played out very, very similarly. And in those 2 games, we broke out and got a shot exactly once. From like, that's how good they are at winning the ball back when it's cleared or whatever going on, and they get right back into the attack with numbers.
They pull the strings and run it like an Arsenal do in some ways, very much like a vintage Pep Guardiola Man City from the past couple years.
It's much more. It's much more like those kind of old school Pep teams
where they smash you. And look, Rod would absolutely love this. This is what Rod would have liked his teams to do, and what we did in Nice at times, not all the time, but like against Flower City, like against other. Now I think like they have a level of talent that they have a level of talent that, with all due respect and love to a lot of the players that were on that Niza team, like their overall talent of that roster is far superior than what we had on our roster when we were trying to do it. But like, they are dominant, and they're a boa constrictor. They push until you are slammed back in there, whether you want to be or not. And the difference with our team this year versus our team last year, or any other year, but last year, is we're okay with it. And we said earlier this season that, like, bend don't break, like whatever else. Right now, especially because we got 5 points, which we need to talk about. We got
8 out of 9 now.
8 out of 9. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. 8 points, which, boy, does that change the vibes. 8 out of 9 points, and I think you really saw like some belief in our guys. But like, we were fine. I think comfortable at least. Going, okay, we've got the lead. Like, we will defend. We will like play our game. We stayed organized. Not only did the effort stay high, but the attention to detail stayed high. It's the only way you get the blocks that we had and the saves, which is just Eldon. But like, the only way you get all of those plays towards the end of that game, when you have to be exhausted and mentally exhausted from switching and coming, because they had 9 players running at us, 8 players running at us at all times. You have to really, 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 really be locked into your game plan and want it. And buddy, we stayed so locked in a way that we didn't earlier. I don't want to say we didn't earlier this season. I don't know if we did earlier this season, and we definitely didn't, again, no disrespect, last season, because I don't think we had, as part of our DNA, the ability to like fall into a bunker and absorb pressure and try to get out. Like this team, as the season has developed, has found a way to relish in that and make it work. And it's really good to be able to play a lot of different ways. Is what I'm trying to say.
There's something about belief in your defending where, you're willing to close down a guy on the edge of the box because, yes, that guy might fake shot and like lay something off for a better shot. But like, you believe that I have to close this guy down so that he doesn't get an open look. And if he beats me with the pass, my teammate behind me is going to take care of that too. And at the very end of that chain reaction is Eldon's got our back.
Yes. And I will also add,
and that belief is there.
The attention to detail to when you go out and the guy does make the dribble, you've immediately switched into the other position that you're supposed to be in for the next. Because one of the things that Huntsville does is they do continual cutbacks and cut-ins. I mean, they do the little triangle on the wing like we used to do in Nisa. And like, they take that triangle until they get to the byline. And like, we blocked, this goes back to those blocks, so many crosses, so many, obviously, shots. And one of the ways you block or in position to block those shots is the attention to detail and being totally locked in, and being Fareed. Fareed in particular blocks a lot of shots, but like
just being Argentine.
Like we were just, man. Also, I forgot we did this without Nathan Kohler.
Yeah,
which is
game number 2 now,
which is wild because like, Nathan's a big part of that, like, block, take pride in your defending, like, defense first kind of center back. Like, you always, a lot of times in a partnership, not always, but a lot of times you have a defense first and then like a secondary guy who might have a bunch of different like qualities. We've seen that all over world football. And I would argue Nathan oftentimes is that defense first guy for us. He can cover more ground than Fareed. Like, he's bigger. Like, he's oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes has the homework of chasing the guy who's trying to get through, whatever else. And yeah, Logan stepped up massively in this game, and Ethan after that. Ethan has a phenomenal block, and it's so good that we're all freaking out in the stands, and he kind of stands up as if he's like, it's like, I don't know, normal for him to block that. Maybe he's a little excited, but he's not. And Eldon like jumps on him and shakes him. The ball hasn't even gone out. Eldon is shaking him, and the ball's like in the corner. It's so good, man. The vibes where you can see the vibe change. And I don't think we were ever not trying. I don't think we were ever like totally beaten down. But I think you saw like, you see a confidence level and a vibes level that is turned up to 11 right now. Maybe not turned 11. It's turned up right now on the field and of course off the field too.
When you run with as much bad luck as we did for a while there.
10 games.
Like it is, and like in some of those games we were not good.
Yes. Some of those games we were second best.
And in some of those games we really should have gotten a point, 3 points, whatever. Like
yes.
When you like, the vibes matter so much.
That's why I always ask about the vibes.
The vibes set up like belief and willingness to run and do the extra little bit, and like getting the vibes to turn can turn your entire, like I like to talk about how the game is played on spreadsheets, and like
no,
it kind of is, but also like there's a real thing in the vibes and the power of friendship. Like, what are you willing to do for the person next to you? Like, are you willing to chase down that ball? Are you willing to
believe in them?
Here's a cheap, easy example. Who makes the block on the final ball in from Huntsville right before
Anthony Garcia goes flying out to jump in the way and go block that ball?
Like he is
not to let a cross just happen to go into the box.
Because what happens here is the referee blows his whistle and that's the game.
But he probably lets that play continue.
But he lets that play continue if that ball gets through.
100%.
Like what happened if someone slips in the back line there, or it's just a really fucking good ball and big guy, one of the big center backs is able to head it across the line and it's tap in.
I mean, what did we see earlier on this? One of the 10 games that I think we lost was like Fareed slipped. No, it was the game we tied at Philly up there where we were up 3-1 and Fareed slips on a long ball in. He just like loses his footing. There's no shade here. It happens. He slips and they score. And like they shouldn't score there, or they probably don't score there. But Fareed slips. That can happen anytime. And so for him to go out and block that ball, like it's just, vibes and the power of friendship. It's also, we said this before, but like we knew our luck was going to turn. Or should have turned, rather. Yeah. And it did turn, and it has turned, evidenced by this, and we're probably now in the luck deficit category, but who cares? I just want to make the playoffs. But also, like, the 4 new signings, I can't say enough about the extra energy and legs and whatever else that those guys have brought us. You can just see there's a little something there, whether it's off the bench or starting. I mean, look, we should actually go to the lineups, talk through the lineups, talk a little bit about how Huntsville set up weird, and also talk about some guys getting their first starts for CFC in this game.
Yeah,
because we spent 20 minutes on vibes, which I do not regret. I think it's important because they were so bad for so long. But yeah, let's get a little into what happened.
So Eldon in goal, Tate at right back, Logan Brown started for the second game in a row.
Shout out Logan.
At right center back, Fareed at left center back, Milo at left back. What a surprise! Something interesting.
I had the Logan big head the whole game, by the way, and it got so much use, both because he was good and because I was just praying he would look up and see me. I don't know if he ever did, but I had that thing going all game.
Callum in the 10 role with Nick Mendonça as in the double pivot. New this game, Luke Huzik-Huski.
From playing center back, as we talked about in our last game recap, from playing holding mid and then center back to just starting at the holding midfield position.
Starting at holding midfield. He was the 6 that was just supposed to drop anchor and just kind of be the pivot point. And you saw Nick Mendonça as the 6 that was running around a little bit more.
Something I said to you before the podcast is I think this role suits Nick really well. I think in this game in particular, but also I think he played next to him last game for part of the game, right? For a little part before he...
I mean, it was like maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, so it's just...
No, I forget.
So point being is I thought Nick was really, really good in this game. Shout out Nick. And I thought in particular, letting him have the freedom to run, and Huzik-Huski as the anchor. And Huzik-Huski also got forward a little bit, which was terrifying because then there was nobody back. But it didn't matter. We took care of business. And for the most part, he stayed back. And he's got a lot of that Callum thing where he moves his body to fake a player one way and then passes the other way. It's lovely. And I felt like him sitting deep really opened up Nick's game. And Nick was kind of everywhere, and not in the everywhere with no one deep, where sometimes you see Nick running around and you're like, oh God, like who's going to be back? And there was no, oh God, who's going to be back? It was just like Nick had the freedom to move, make the challenges, go seek the ball. And I thought it was
and I think you'll find that when Luke was a little bit forward at times, especially like in the press, like Nick was also in that covering position.
That's fair. And I wasn't watching only them, and I haven't watched a full rewatch. I've just watched the 1915. I just remember watching during the game, be like, man, Nick is everywhere. This is really good. And like in talking to you after the game and when watching in the highlights, I really think this role really opens up a lot for Nick, letting him have the freedom to go seek and destroy.
Up front gets a little weird. So Daniel Mangaroff at left wing, okay, that's no surprise, right? Like we kind of expect that. Gavin Turner made his first start as at right wing. Nice.
Sorry.
Gavin Turner makes his first start at right wing, a position that he's not played
for us.
He does have a bunch of starts in his time with DC United on loan at Loudoun. I think both wing positions. So like, okay, not terribly uncommon.
Yeah, we've only seen him at the 8 and the 10.
Yeah.
And we've seen him get significant minutes at both. I think he's been at 10 more than the 8, but like we haven't seen him out wide at all.
No.
And yeah, I guess finish the and then I have thoughts about the front three.
And then we weren't sure this was going to happen. We kind of expected that he would come off the bench, but Yuval Cohen straight into the starting lineup as the 9.
Welcome again, Yuval Cohen. Okay, so a few things that I loved. It was a front four a lot of times. It was a 4-2-4 offensively when we were getting forward, especially the first 20 minutes of the game. From my perspective, that first 20 minutes before we score, like it was kind of back and forth. Like they probably had the ball a little bit more.
We were really good in those first 10 minutes. It reminded me a lot of the Red Bulls away game where we were really good in those first 10 minutes. The only difference is Red Bull scored on their first shot.
So what you have, yes, fair. Also, is it Tyreek Mitchell? Is that his first name?
Mm-mm.
The guy for Red Bull that's came back off the ACL injury.
Roland
Mitchell, is that his?
Roland?
Point being, his last name's Mitchell. He's their striker. I think he wears the 9. Very good player. He's back and he's fucking good. I remember he was so good. Then he tore his ACL. He was leading the league in goals last year. I just saw him in highlights last night or 2 nights ago, whatever night it was. Anyway, the front three plus Callum. You had Callum just in the middle a lot of times, and then you had it was like a 3-4-3. No, I'm sorry, a 4-3-3.
We played a 4-3-3.
It was a 4-3-3, but you just had 4-2-4, and like Callum was just in the middle of a 3 in a lot of times, and both of those 2 wingers were pushed way far forward. Yuval Cohen was also way far forward, and then the 3 of them interchanged a bit, which was good. Mostly the 2 interchanging were Yuval and Gavin, but they also, the 3 of those guys just have so much more legs. They're young and like they can just run and run and run and run and run and run and times, and they just kept running. In fact, Gavin, after at a certain point subs, and there's a sub and he goes to the 8 and he runs and runs and runs and runs. And I pointed out in the 90 and 15, there's one point where he's really, really deep, whatever else, but he and all 3 of them provided an element. Now I don't know that that's our best 11. I think we, lacking a central focus, like not having Peter, like there's some other maybe like options, whatever else potentially, but looking at the ability for us to both get out on the break and harass and just like make challenges. And these other teams usually have younger players and they run a ton. And sometimes it feels like we're outgunned in the running category. That's a very vague thing to but I felt like this game we were able to run, and I really liked the start of that. And I'm very interested to see where that progresses as we go forward, and as hopefully, I'm knocking on some wood here, we desperately need, I think, Nathan Kohler back, obviously, and a little birdie told me that like the injury's not super serious, they don't think, and he's projected to come back, I think, after this little period. I hope that's true. I hope that little birdie, whoever they found it out for, hopefully like that was true. Knock on wood there. And then Peter, I have no idea. I've not heard no little birdies have whispered in my ear. So, but we desperately need, I think, both of those guys back for this stretch run and getting to the playoffs and keep finishing our thing here.
I was just pulling up Yuval Cohen's stats from from that game because he's 19 years old.
I wish we had the data for how much they run, by the way. That'd be fun.
Yeah. He starts straight away, and it's a game where we end up with 27% possession, right? So, what
Going from Miami, where they possess the ball for fun and interchange and switch, to being under it had to be.
So that's a really hard and thankless job, especially because of the running angle, and just generally you have to be able to run in this league, and if you want to go to the next level, you have to be able to run. There is truly one team in Major League Soccer, like in the MLS level, that legitimately can't run. And
they just lost the League Cup final.
They just lost the League Cup final to Seattle, who has 15 guys from MLS Next Pro. All they fucking do is run.
Shout out to Ozaz de Rosario.
Yeah.
Sorry if I butchered your name, bro. You'll never hear this, but I remember watching him in MLS Next Pro earlier this season. I don't know if I watched him last season. I might have, but this season he stuck out oh, this guy's good, and he was just bullying guys, and then he bullied Miami, which was awesome. Just a beautiful strikers run and cross, and their first goal was awesome.
So he was on,
and I only watched the first half of that game.
He was on a second team contract to start this year. Seattle had a bunch of injury issues. And Jordan Morris didn't play in this game.
Paul Arriola did not play in this game.
Paul Arriola's out for the season. And they've had some injury issues. It's gotten a little bit better, but he gets a first team contract because he's been tearing up in MLS Next Pro, but also because of their injury issues.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't just get a call up; he got a first team contract.
Yes,
nice.
Got a couple call ups, did well, got a first team contract out of it.
Shout out Jesus Ferreira playing the 10, which is fun.
And then
very good coaching from Brian Schmetzer.
Yeah, and then there's another injury. There's another. I think they had a guy on a red card that would have started, and so Ozaz legitimately would have been with Tacoma this past weekend, but for the red card, so they play him because they won a Central 9. Scores, was really, really good. There's a different podcast about how Seattle is kind of the model.
Yeah, I was thinking that as I was looking through their stuff.
And what they've done, obviously building that program from the early days.
And they've been doing it since USL Championship. This isn't a new thing for them.
No, I mean
they've had their Tacoma second team, which is just Seattle too, but Tacoma, what are they called?
Defiance,
that's right. They've had a secondary. They've had basically the Huntsville version in Tacoma.
It's been in Seattle for the last 6 years.
Are they really? They're not in Tacoma anymore?
Yeah. I think Danny Reynolds' year was the last year actually in Tacoma.
I didn't realize that. That bums me out a little bit. But regardless, they have truly executed the second team thing. And if you go through their thing, you counted 6 guys on the
6 guys in the starting lineup. Have legitimate Next Pro experience. Another 6 or 7 in the match day squad.
There were 5 that I counted.
Legitimate Next Pro experience.
Not all of them had Next Pro experience from the ones I counted on the bench. Some of them had USL Championship experience when the team was in USL Championship.
I mean, sure.
It's the second team, whether they were there in USL Championship or they were in MLS Next Pro.
That team has multiple guys who used to play for Toronto FC2.
Isn't that awesome?
There's a whole separate podcast about that, and maybe that's a good off-season one of obviously CFC is going to do things differently. We do not have a major league team, an MLS team above us.
We don't have a mommy or a daddy, thank God.
Yeah, and also our first team is at the MLS Next Pro level, so obviously it's a little bit different. But if you look at all of the teams across MLS that you want to emulate, what do they do? Why do they do it? How do they do it? They're the ones that you pick out of we obviously can't be them.
Who do a second team super well.
But can we build our entire footballing system in Chattanooga around in the sort of way that they have done to benefit their team, their city? That's the model. It's Chattanooga. We're not going to do the Inter Miami thing where we outspend everybody and we don't give a damn if you're from Chattanooga or you're right. those guys, like, and Miami treats their domestics horribly right now. Like, we can't afford to do that, right? We have to do this thing.
It's also not part of our cultural DNA, our club DNA.
So anyway, let's put that in the December category.
Also, last thing about that one,
because now I got to get back to our former Miami player, Yuval Cohen.
Luis Suarez gets in trouble for spitting on the guy, and
he hasn't gotten in trouble yet.
Oh, he's not going to. Also, I heard that MLS doesn't run that competition, so nothing's going to happen. Is the rumor? Doesn't matter. That's a side note. But during the whole brouhaha, the only reason I reckon Brian Schmetzer is just walking around like greeting people, talking, kind of looks over. And, like, I can't tell if he's actually looking at it, but to me, it looked like he was just unbothered by the fracas, which just makes me like him even more than I already do.
I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah. And I also heard on the broadcast, and I only watched the first half, and then we put on something else. That's the first and only MLS game I think I've watched on. Well, I think you and I watched one over here, but I basically watched no MLS this season. But they said on the broadcast he's been with the Sounders since like '79. Because obviously they were in the NASL.
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. All right. Yuval Cohen, 59 minutes in his CFC debut.
Of sacrifice and running.
Yeah. 7 of 8 in passing. No shots to speak of. He had 20 touches. 1 of 2 successful dribbles. He was dispossessed once.
That would be the 1 of 2 successful dribbles?
Yeah, put in 2 tackles, won one of them.
The one he won, he nuked the guy. He got under him and did that thing that short players do that are like strong, and he got under him, got the ball, murdered the guy. It was awesome. I think it was Jordan Knight, actually. It was awesome.
1 block, 1 clearance. That clearance was headed. And then 1 recovery. He was 6 of 9 in ground duels.
Very good.
0 of 3 in aerial duels. That's no surprise.
No surprise.
He's like 5'10" on a bunch of 6'2" guys.
Yeah, kicking the ball long to him wasn't going to work well.
He was fouled 3 times.
Yeah.
And he committed 1 foul.
Yeah. I thought it was a really solid debut. It was
those 3 fouls, each of them were massive, like, release valves, like pressure release valves for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the kind of thing that you need strikers to do. In a game like that, like, it's just like that thankless stuff of, like, just get kicked, keep the ball.
I'll be excited to see him in 2 different roles going forward, and there's only 5 games left, so I don't know how much we'll see, like how many different roles there will be. But I'll be excited to see him on the wing, because for Miami he played on the wing. If you go watch, not all the time, but you can see him in some stuff. He played on the wing. He also played as one of a 2. So I'd be very interested to see him as a 2 if we get a small and tall opportunity. We played a lot of small and tall with not small and tall. We played with Colin Thomas and Gavin up top. We played with Colin and
oftentimes Jalen James, oftentimes Keegan.
Yes, Keegan. So, like, I'll be interested to see him in that small quote unquote role next to a bigger striker. That would be interesting, I think, to me. And also, I'd be interested to see him play in a game that we're not just smashed back, like get us in the half court, so to speak.
Huntsville's a bit of an odd game to, like, see for the first time. So, like, Our next 5 is at Crown. Then it's home against Carolina Core. And then we go to Atlanta, to New York, and then home against Atlanta on decision day.
Yes. And all of those would be interesting to see kind of where things go on his thing. You want to go through the subs?
We didn't do subs yet. No. And then let's talk about, like, where we are as a whole. On the subs bench, Keegan Anslin, who came on for Yuval Cohen in the 59th minute.
And it was nice to have some legs and physical presence off the bench, man. It was good.
Speaking of, Stevie Louis Jean, also on in the 59th minute. Yes. I believe he replaced Yusik Yuski.
And the Stevie sub was...
he replaced Mendonça, actually.
Luke stayed in the whole game. Stevie or right to...
69th minute.
So he stayed another 7 minutes. Huh. Anyway, I remember thinking he was going to go out because he was on a yellow, and then Nick went out.
Who was also on a yellow.
And then it was Gavin and Stevie after that. And then it was Gavin and Tate, because they pushed Stevie wide to play right back, and they pushed Tate in the middle at a certain point.
Just for a few minutes.
I don't know when it happened, but it happened, because I looked up and I was like, Stevie's been 3 plays in a row where Tate usually is.
And then by the end of stoppage time, it had been reversed.
I don't know. It was interesting.
It was wild. Anthony Garcia was also a 69th minute sub.
Nice.
Jalen James was a 69th minute sub.
Nice.
And then Ethan Dudley subbed in for Logan Brown in the 83rd. And I don't know if that was precautionary Logan hasn't played a lot of games. Remember, he came out in the 65th.
Yep. I don't know.
In the Carolina core game. So it might have just been his physicals were...
Those two guys all season have continually subbed in and out for one another. When we were playing 3, it was those two guys. They alternated starting. Like,
Chris might be the first manager I have ever seen be willing to sub out a center back, like, kind of freely. Based on... I assume a lot of it's just based on, like, the physical data says that they're getting close to a cramp or to an injury. I don't
know. But yeah.
I don't know. All right. So...
And then Huntsville did a really interesting thing, and they played a 4-2-3-1, which they often play, with a lot of players in kind of some different roles, including Valise at right back, who we've seen a lot in midfield for them. They played not Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen's an old San Antonio Spur. Blake Bowen. Who shout out anyway. There's I remember down in Huntsville when the penalty got saved rather. I'll leave it who it is, but one of our front office people was like, I went to high school with him. I can't remember if he said he sucks or like tell him I see. I don't remember. It was something. He had a piece of trash talk, which was very funny. And that's a worse story than I thought it was going to be because I forgot the details of it in the middle of it, and I didn't want to say who it was.
Rat out somebody.
But it was interesting to see him play on the wing. Was what I should have said there. No Kofi, which was helpful. Their striker, who I think that this definitely hurt us, Ka, who was starting up top, got hurt early on in the game, and Miglietti came in. Miglietti did, and then he
got subbed out for Maxac.
And it was an interesting lineup, and it worked at times. Like, they're definitely still like a good team. They generated 3 expected goals. Like, they were really good in that game overall, but it also like didn't get the ball over the line. And they then last week after that game, but before that we've recorded this pod, played a 3-man against Atlanta, which is totally different from what they normally do. And they were beaten by Atlanta. So yeah, they're doing some interesting things, and they're not interesting in a good way. And Matthew and I both have a theory that may or may not be true, but we're wondering if there's some word coming from up top, like, hey, you have from the first team, hey, you need to start these players, or hey, you need to play this way, because them changing from a thing that's been pretty successful to a thing that hasn't been as successful is weird and interesting, and makes me another reason I'm very, very glad we don't have anybody telling us how we have to play.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the table. So
this marble top table?
Yes, the marble top table. So we are recording on...
Don't break the seal. It's a secret. Don't... Just kidding.
There's a game. I think there's a game tomorrow night. So
we are recording on Wednesday.
Yeah, this is Wednesday. It is...
the 3rd? Yeah, Wednesday the 3rd.
Wednesday the 3rd.
It is 12:14 p.m.
Okay, wow, this is really specific. I only bring that up because there is a game on Thursday night, Crown Legacy versus Carolina Core, that has bottom of the playoff picture implications.
I thought you were going to say bottom of the table.
No. Well,
hopefully.
Almost. Not really. Sort of. So here we are. New York Red Bulls, 24 games played, 51 points. Philadelphia Union, 24 games played, 46 points. Huntsville City, 23 games played, 43 points. Chicago Fire, 23 games played, 43 points. New England Revolution, 22 games played,
yep,
42 points.
They can, if they win both their games in hand, push into second.
CFC, 23 games played, 41 points.
How weird is it to no longer have games in hand? We've had games in hand the entire season.
I know.
We have every time like teams catch us, which they occasionally do, we then get another game in hand randomly. And then we get this like weird second off-season 2-game break here. Shout out Bill Ottred. And we're back a game.
Toronto, 24 games played, 36 points. Orlando, by virtue of their late winner versus Crown Legacy, has pushed into 8th place, the final playoff spot. 24 games played, 33 points. And then the rest of it goes like this. New York City FC at 24 games played and 32 points. Atlanta United, 23 games played, 31 points. They've won the last 2 games.
Atlanta has?
Mm-hmm. Carolina Core, 23 games played, 30 points. Crown Legacy, 24 games played, 29 points. And Cincinnati, 23 games played, and 29 points. Now, so those are the actual points that you actually have.
Yes.
Let's talk about maximum points, because this actually determines what our magic number is. So, here we are. New York Red Bulls, 63 points, max. They've also clinched.
They're the only team that has clinched a playoff spot, right?
And how many did I say they were on? 51?
I don't know, and I'm not going to be able to give you that back. It doesn't matter what they're on.
No, it doesn't.
63 is their max.
Philadelphia, maximum points, clinched.
They have clinched?
They have clinched.
Okay, so
maximum
the second
points
team
is
is clinched.
58.
Okay. So they have not clinched which playoff spot, but they have clinched
They are currently on 46 points, and they have clinched.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We move on. New England Revolution max at 60, virtue of their games in hand. Chicago's max is 58. Huntsville's max is 58. CFC's max is 56.
That's if we win out.
That's maximum points
what max
winning
means.
out.
Yeah.
Toronto's max is 48. Atlanta's max is 46. Atlanta is in the 8th spot currently in the max points table by virtue of their extra game in hand compared to everybody else, even though they're down a couple points there. Which means 46 points has clinched Philadelphia. 46 points is also the last max spot in the max points table or playoff position, which means that our 41 points puts our magic number at 5. Any point that we earn the rest of the season brings that magic number down. And any points dropped by Atlanta, Orlando, Carolina, Cincinnati, New York City, by virtue of
number down as well.
who are lower in the max points table, will bring the magic number down, provided that multiples of them go down.
How many points did we finish with last year?
45.
So our magic number is 46 right now, or 5 more points.
It is now. Let's remember for a second that not everyone can get max points.
Yes, of course.
So I mentioned that we're recording today on Wednesday. Carolina Core and Crown Legacy play on Thursday night. So Carolina Core's maximum points on the season is 45. Crown is 41. So if Crown drops any points, if they do not win, they drop any points in that game, we will officially finish above Crown, regardless of what happens the rest of the season. But let's be honest, Crown's on 41 points. They're functionally going to be behind us, right? Their max points is on 41, so they're functionally behind us. So in a game like that, you want to see Crown win because it knocks Carolina Core out of the 45 spot.
Yes.
Which pushes us one step closer to 45 becoming the maximum or the magic number line.
So this podcast and Matthew and I are heavily in the scared mix.
Sorry, buddy.
So you're sleeping, buddy. We are heavily in the just make the playoffs. Who cares? Make the playoffs. That's
a home game in the playoffs would be really, really nice. Blah, blah, blah.
So what I will say is because of the weirdness and because this season is stratifying much weirder than last season, and I don't think we're getting a home playoff game. We could, but I think
it's on the cards.
That's what I was going to say. There's a chance that we are within, and we were within striking distance also of a home playoff game last year if we would have just won a couple games because it was everything from
because home playoff game was 47 points
because the fourth seed because 4 to 10 or 4 to 9, 4 to 10 I think were all so close, and we ended up finishing 9th by virtue of a tiebreaker and pushed us down. This season, who knows? But there's kind of two things you can root for. Obviously, you should root for CFC to win every game. But if you want the other games to go a certain way, there's a way you can root against some of the teams above us that has us sneaking into a home playoff game. There's also the pessimistic way where you can just root against a team below us to have us get into just the playoffs. Matthew and I are on the same side of that, where we root against the teams below us because what we care about most is just let's get in the playoffs first and then figure it out. But there's also a very outside chance, and not super far outside. If we win 3 of our last 5, we might have a home playoff game. as an example, could. If we draw 2 and win a penalty, draw 3 and one of them we win a penalty shootout, like we're probably not getting a home playoff game, right? So it just depends. But we're in good shape towards the playoffs. Nothing is decided. Nothing.
Like honestly, we're in fantastic shape for the playoff picture itself.
Yes, it would take a colossal collapse. And last year, what happened for those of it that may, if you weren't following along game by game last year to finish the season, is every single result that we needed to go our way went against us, essentially.
Except for go back a few games towards the end of the season, except for our games. Because
we got some results there, but every game that we needed on the other side.
I think people forget this. Our last 4 games of the season last year, we took 10 points in. We won 2 and we won 2 shootouts. Like we closed really, really hard. We also just picked up 5 points between the New England Revolution win on like June 1st and
the Columbus win.
Oh, we picked up 7 points because we had Crown in there before Columbus.
Yeah,
that stretch was
and again, the way that the table stratified was like everyone in the middle was packed in, and then the top had separated, and the very, very bottom had maybe separated a little bit, but not enough. So everybody was beating everybody, and every result we needed to go our way to get us into, again, we were 3 points. We finished at 45, 47 or 48, something like that. Some crazy number like that was the
I can actually look
the 4th place spot. The top 3 had separated.
47.
47. So we were out of the playoffs at 45, and had we had 48 to take away tiebreakers, or 47 and had the tiebreakers, we would have had 4th place. So like that's how tight it was last year between 4th and 9th, or 4th and 10th.
It was 3rd. Inter Miami was at 48 points in 3rd place, and 9th place was at 45 points.
So that was the craziness. 48 and 45, 3-9 last year. It's absolutely crazy.
Bananas.
And this year, if you go back to this year, we'll see where it ends up, but I think we're going to be much further. The bottom of the table is going to be much further down, and hopefully we'll continue to stratify out so that we clearly and comfortably make the playoffs. I will also remind folks that in this league, the playoffs are not seeded outside of the top 4. So the top 4 are seeded. This will make sense when I get to it. So the first place actually picks their opponent.
Yep.
So they will have a home game and they will pick who they want to play. Second place then picks of the remaining, and you can only pick in the bottom 4. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 4. You cannot pick the second place team cannot pick the 4th place team. The first place team can't pick the 3rd or the 4th or the 2nd. So the first place team's going to pick out of the bottom 4, and that eliminates one. The second place team's going to pick out of the bottom 4. The third place team's going to pick out of the bottom 4. And then the 4th place gets whoever's left over. Functionally, that means if you can finish in the top 4 and get a home game, that's the best thing that can happen. And obviously, if you get to pick your opponent, there's some weirdness there. I think it's actually pretty dumb, but like whatever. It's fun, I guess. Doesn't matter. So if we get a home game, all that matters is we get a home game, and we could potentially try to avoid someone like Huntsville, who is going to be, if the luck goes against us the way and goes to revert to the mean, we might lose 12-0. Or to be specific, I think 7 to
7-1?
nothing.
7-1?
It'd be 7-0, I think. But the other thing that can happen is if we finish, there's no difference for us if we finish in 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th onto who we're going to play, because they're going to pick, and probably we're going to get picked first if I had to guess. And if they pick us, we're going to go fuck them up. But I wanted to remind folks that that's how it works. So we either want to stretch and get a home game, and that would rule, or we just need to make the playoffs. It doesn't matter 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Not
just make it.
9th is a bad deal. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th are the same.
Give yourself a chance.
Just get there, and once you get to the playoffs, y'all, 4 games. You only got to win 4.
Anything can happen.
And so the first round, I believe the first 3 teams pick, like I described. The second round, only the first team picks, right?
Yeah, because there's only 2.
Only the first team picks, and then after that, it's just seeded. And the home game works out to whoever's highest that's left. So the first team can pick anybody, I believe, and then the other 2 that the higher seed hosts. So obviously, that's when finishing in 5th could help if the first team picks the 3rd team and you're 5th and the 8th team is left. Like you could end up playing them at a home game in the second round of the playoffs if you finished early, I believe.
Home teams cannot be picked.
So they would pick. Okay.
So if the 1 seed and the 3 seed both win, the 3 seed gets another home game. If the 2 seed got eliminated somehow.
Yes, but if both the higher seeds get, you can end up still hosting if two teams are left over out of the pick. Let's say that the lower seeds win.
Oh yeah. That's
you can
just
still
how this works.
so you still can. I'm saying like in the first round, the finishing in the bottom 4, quote unquote, the ones where you're going to get picked.
You're on the road.
You're just on the road, and it doesn't matter. In the second round, you could conceivably, through some shenanigans, end up hosting a game. So obviously, we should root for us to finish 5th. But if we're going to finish in the bottom 4, but let's just root for us making the playoffs, and let's go fuck up 4 games in a row.
It'll be fun.
Listeners, viewers, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Matthew, do we have anything before we let them go?
MLS next regular season begins. On the academy side, our U13, 14, and 15 teams were announced.
Shout out.
Yeah, good luck to them. It's kind of a new era for us. So
It's big.
If you're, remember that like results aren't the only thing that matters in youth soccer. In fact, they're the least important. Like development is what matters. A good environment's what matters. So good luck to all those kids.
Absolutely.
Good luck to all those parents. It's a pretty big commitment all across. Thank you to ownership for funding it for the first year.
Yeah, making it free to play.
Accessibility is so important, and we have a long way to go to make soccer accessible for everyone always.
Especially in this country in particular.
But and I assume that the kind of CFC Academy League that we've put together for teams in the region I assume it's kind of already underway as well.
It is underway, yeah.
So
I saw something on Instagram. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Catch up with you soon. Peace.